Hi, and thank you for listening to Dream 10X Radio, where we interview people attempting to live extraordinary lives. Our twofold purpose is to both direct and inspire people bold enough to do the same. Dream 10X. Face your fears and make your life count. Greetings, my genetic homologs. Welcome to episode 54 of the Dream 10X podcast. It's your boy and host, JC.
Hi.
And I'm here with my lovely wife and assistant,
Dr. Capel.
Dr. Capel. Welcome to episode 54. Today we are talking about the book Chasing Captain America by Dr. Paul Zier. And this book is about how to use genetic technologies that are available today and maybe a little gene hacking to potentially create a contemporary Captain America. And I am not a guy who's read a lot of comics in my life. The only comic book exposure I had as a kid was one that I recall was a comic book about Tom Landry and the Dallas Cowboys. I just think it's so funny.
That's cool.
And contrast that with my lovely wife. You've got all kinds of... You continue to read comic books to this day, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of a geek. I like comics.
What are some of your favorite comic books?
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk.
And more She-Hulk.
And why do you read She-Hulk? What
she's
is
a
it?
badass.
But there's more to it than that.
Because she's more normalized. I like when she hulks out. She still has all of her rational reason. And she's sarcastic and hilarious. And she's wildly strong. And she's wicked smart. She's a lawyer. And so she has all the attributes that I would like to be. Like smart, funny, strong.
I think that's key right there. The attributes. You like reading about
that
the
resonate
attributes.
with you.
Yeah. Of course, when She-Hulk came out on Disney, she was...
I was very excited.
Excited, and we watched it, the whole thing. And it's not continuing to come out, is it? Or
it's done for the season, so hopefully they make a season 2.
And it was just really fun to watch, and I kind of get why she loves She-Hulk. It's because she's very funny. She's very smart and humble, and the ability to dominate in a room, but yet very humble in that regard, and firmly rooted in where she came from. I think. So actually, watching that show gave me a greater appreciation for Cindy, who's always... You've got She-Hulk tattoos, even. She just loves She-Hulk. In fact, you just had one done this year, right?
Yep, it's true.
Maybe we could put a picture on the podcast. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, let's do that. Of course.
Okay. That would be cool. Yeah, she just had a She-Hulk tattoo done this year, so... pretty epic. I don't have any tattoos.
I have enough for the both of us.
I just figure I look like Captain America. What the heck do I need a tattoo for, right?
You do look like Captain America. You're hotter, though.
All right, so anyway, 6 top takeaways from Dr. Paul Zier's book on Chasing Captain America on contemporary kind of genetic technologies that might currently be employed to create a Captain America type of human. I got to tell you, it's a relatively light book, but there's a lot of big words in here. There's not many pictures. Books without pictures, what the heck? I can't do that. But a lot of big words and a lot of thoughts that made me go down many different rabbit holes to investigate. And at the end of reading this book, I decided to enroll in a Coursera course in genomics to kind of learn more about this field because it's really fascinating. I had no idea it was so fast moving, and there's so much potential here. So can we create Captain America? What will it take? The number one technology that I took away from this book is CRISPR. And so I'm sure you've heard of CRISPR in the news. It's been around for a while. Have you heard of CRISPR? And basically what it is a technology, a gene technology to allow you to edit your genes.
That's craziness.
So there's the potential there to use these Cas9, which is one of the proteins that are typically used with CRISPR, to kind of snip out the genes that you currently have and put in some more amenable genes to create something that's better, a better you.
So I could permanently have green hair?
Potentially. That's the promise of CRISPR. Now, the technology I don't think is used outside of the lab widely. Maybe in specific cases in the medical community it's used, but not widely outside of the lab. And CRISPR stands for, this will totally help explain what CRISPR is once you understand the acronym. Clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeat is what
Gesundheit.
is what it stands for. So does that help clarify anything? It's a complicated technology, which is why I wanted to learn more about the whole field of genetics to kind of understand this whole thing, because there's a lot of acronyms out there. There's a lot of words and techniques and things in the genomics community that are thrown out, but really understanding them takes a lot of knowledge and research. This is a huge field. It's bigger than computer technology, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's so much there, but it's so fascinating. Okay, so CRISPR is one way that we could potentially create the attributes that we want to see in a superhuman just by editing the genes, not really changing them, changing them, but just editing them. I don't think gene edits are passed from generation to generation. I may be wrong there. I'm sorry if I am, but again, this is a field I'm just learning more about. But CRISPR is a technology used for editing your current genes and putting in a gene that's more amenable to the either the physical or whatever type of gene expression that you're looking for.
So in theory, if you had like a gene that didn't come out right for whatever reason that my dad passed on to me, they could edit that one gene and fix it. That would fix whatever issue I was having. So if it's like a medical issue.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Like arthritis. Maybe.
Yeah.
And this is something I'm really interested in after reading this. Like, screw creating superhuman. Is there something that can treat arthritis? Can we edit our genes to like get rid of arthritis? Like your mom suffers from arthritis. I think your dad does as well.
Yep.
I do. I know I've got arthritis in all my joints. If we could fix that, if we could solve that through gene editing, I'd be all about it.
That would be amazing.
Like, I'd sign up for that totally.
Yeah.
And so there seems to be a lot of promise there. And again, most of the technologies we're going to discuss seem to have a lot of promise, but I'm kind of like grasping at straws when it comes to actual implementation out there that the common Joe can get a hold of, which is a little bit frustrating. Anyway, so there's CRISPR. Studying a little bit more about that capability also made me become aware of a similar Moore's Law. You're familiar, we talked about Moore's Law in some of our AI discussions, the doubling of the power of silicon chips every year and a half or so. There's a similar graph associated with the technology in this whole genomics field. And so to think about when gene sequencing began around 1987, the associated cost then was around $33 billion or something like that. Something outrageous.
Wow.
$33 billion just to sequence one genome.
That's crazy.
$33 billion. Also of note is that the Department of Energy was the one primarily pushing on gene sequencing.
I wonder what
and not
is.
NIH.
Yeah.
And the reason they were doing that is it was related to nuclear radiation research. Very interesting correlation there. Just let that simmer for a little bit. But anyway, $33 billion. And that cost came down very similar to the way Moore's Law was going down, the cost of computing and the doubling power. However, it dropped off precipitously around, I think, 2003. And to this day, it costs around $200 to sequence a human genome. So it went from $33 billion in 1987 to this day around $200, something like that.
It's incredible.
So you can go to like
Ancestry.com,
23andMe, those sites to get your gene sequence. They're George Church. I'm trying to remember his company name. I was just looking at it. It's starts with an N, Nebula or something. Anyway, I'll put it in the blog post notes. But George Church is a big player in this field of genomics. He's a researcher at Harvard University. Fascinating guy as well. But anyway, the technology, cost of that technology has dropped tremendously since '87, and the capability has increased greatly as well. So the potential for the future for this technology is wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll see. Again, like I said, it's like grasping at straws to see some real applications of this stuff. But at least at the current point in time, as of 2022 December, you can now pay around $200 to $400, get your genome sequenced, and have a relatively full understanding. I haven't done it myself, but supposedly you can have a relatively full understanding of your genes and what might potentially cause health problems for you down the road, whether it's cancer or asthma or whatever.
So interesting. Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of security aspects in that you and I have kind of discussed, but we won't go into that now. But I think the field is just fascinating. Okay, number 2. What are some technologies we might use to create Captain America? The number 2 takeaway that I learned from this book was the myostatin. Do you know what myostatin does?
I don't.
Myostatin regulates your muscle growth. So if you inhibit myostatin in your body, you don't even have to work out that much, and your muscles are going to go like you're going to get really big muscles. And in fact, there's a lot of pictures on if you Google myostatin, bovine myostatin, or something like that. You'll get a lot of pictures of cows that have had their. It's quite common in animals, so like cows and pigs and stuff like that. The myostatin can genetically be the excretion or the use of myostatin in those models can be limited and result in these big, strong-looking cows and these big, strong-looking pigs and stuff. It's not very common in humans, but it's common in other animal models.
Interesting.
So, yeah, that was interesting. I never heard of that. And so I think a lot of bodybuilders are probably aware of that already.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, hey, man, how do I limit my myostatin so I can get pumped without working out or whatever? But, so it's interesting how the body works. And it's a protein. I wrote down it's a protein, myostatin. So if you can limit that, you can probably realize pretty extreme muscle growth in your body. One of the problems with it, though, is that it grows all your muscles.
So your heart, too, I would imagine.
Including your heart. And you don't want to screw around with that. So part of the problem with all of these technologies is getting them to work correctly in conjunction with the places where they need to work and not screw up other places.
Yeah.
And so that's really part of the challenge of when you start tinkering with biology is to get the tinkering working correctly in all systems of your overall system. Okay, so number 3, hippocampus stimulation. Do you know what the hippocampus is?
The part of the brain.
I'm glad you know. I don't know where exactly the hippocampus is. I forgot to look it up. But Dr. Zare points out a study where these researchers and some couple of academic institutions wrote a paper whereby they could transfer memories between mouse models using hippocampus stimulation. So they could basically record a memory in one rat and then replay that memory in another rat, totally different rat who didn't experience that memory at all, but could experience that memory through hippocampus stimulation. I think it was electromagnetic stimulation, so external. I don't think it had anything to do with internal brain manipulation or anything.
So if they were to clone the rat, then they could literally clone the brain too and give it the whole memories and everything else.
Now that I don't know about. That's, I think, a bridge too far from this particular study. This is just...
I watch a lot of sci-fi.
I think this is just electromagnetic stimulation of the hippocampus, recording it in one and copying it to another through some kind of stimulation.
Yeah, and I wonder if it would have the emotion affiliated too, or if it's just like, it takes you to go through a maze. because you get the reward, but do you have that gratification of getting the reward, like knowing that anyway, solving the problem?
I don't know. Yeah, but the thing that made me think about this memory translation between rat models was in that scene in The Matrix when when Neo gets that thing stuck in the back of his head and he learns kung fu. I think that was such a great, almost prophetic look into the future about how we are going to learn. I'm almost positive we are going to learn like that in the future. Maybe not something stuck in our brain or the base of our brain, but maybe through just some kind of neural link or something like that to help us learn faster. And like we talked about in previous podcasts relative to artificial intelligence and how fast all that stuff is progressing, I think it's going to be important for humans in order to keep pace.
Yeah.
We're going to have to learn faster. We got to figure out how to learn more. We're going to have to figure out how to learn faster. And that's part of what this Dream 10X podcast is all about. How can we learn more? How can we learn faster? And so this is really an interesting study in that regard. Like the ability to, memories are memories are learning, right? Like you have that motor memory for doing one thing. Like if you can if you could like capture that, record that, and like neurally transmit it to somebody else who didn't have to go through that experience but can automatically get it. That's really fantastic. So anyway, that's it. Also in the blog post, there's a link there. You can read more about that study. So what was this, 4 or 5? This is 4. The fourth key takeaway that I had was the word photobiomodulation and what it means. Photobiomodulation. It's
a lot of big words in this blog post.
There's a lot of big words in this book, and this is why I'm like, I gotta look all this stuff up, figure out what it means. But basically, it's the idea that we humans share a lot of our biology with plants way back when, and of course, plants use sunlight to convert stuff to energy. Yeah, and what's that called? Photosynthesis. And so humans have that as a latent capability as well. I just thought this was interesting, especially relative to the whole COVID thing. When COVID came out, there was some talk about, sunlight might be able to help cure COVID. Well, actually, sunlight has been used for a long time, at least through the 1900s, to potentially cure various diseases. So it's not unheard of to use sunlight to cure things that ail us. And in fact, in the early 1900s, there were companies. Even going back as far to the Greeks and Herodotus, it was known that sunlight can help humans recover from certain ailments. So it's not outside the realm of possibility by any means. There's a scientific term associated with it, photobiomodulation.
And that's how Superman gets all his powers.
Is it really?
Yeah. So switching comics, this is Marvel switching to DC Comics. So Superman flies into the sun, and that's how he heals and regenerates and gets his strengths and powers. So,
well, Stan Lee.
Cool.
Stan Lee probably knew all this stuff already.
It's Marvel Comics.
Whatever, whoever. I don't know. Somebody do it. So what were you talking about? Who's
DC
Superman?
Comics.
Oh, Superman is DC?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It's okay. I love you. He's pretty.
There's even a contemporary company called BioLux Research. I couldn't find them on the web today. They may have gone out of business, but they were creating technologies to help heal, I think, dental type of issues using a type of light energy.
Really?
Yeah.
For your teeth?
For your
Interesting.
teeth, yeah. So it's a thing. It's a thing. I don't know how much of a thing it is, but okay. My number 5 takeaway was this molecule called rapamycin. And there's a couple of reasons why I thought rapamycin was really interesting. It's a molecule found in the soil on Easter Island.
Oh,
you know where they have this big
I always wanted to go there.
Look in some direction for some reason.
Yep.
The creation of these huge stone structures that modern man are almost like mystified by.
Yeah.
Like, how did those things get created? And that's a whole nother side interest of mine is stone and stonemasonry and man's relationship to stonemasonry, and how we've kind of lost touch with how the heck these stone structures back in the day were even built and created.
Yeah.
And the heads on Easter Island are one great example. But anyway, I digress. It's all about the soil on Easter Island and this compound called rapamycin. Rapamycin purportedly helps humans, anybody who takes it, live longer. It fights whatever, and I don't know. It's a soil bacterium, and it's known to help prolong life. And however, it's only currently used. It's been synthesized currently in the health community to like help with organ transplants.
Oh wow!
So I'm like, organ transplants? I mean, if it helps prolong our life, how come there's not some implementation that anybody can go to the store and buy and like help, some supplement, some rapamycin? Yeah. So that's what I mean. There's like so many technologies here that are like, it's cool that they exist, but how do we get a hold of it? How do we use it?
The soil?
Where's the implementation at?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this is known to like, let's go to Easter Island and just like start eating dirt.
Yeah, totally.
That's what
Why not?
If you want to live long, go to Easter Island and just start shoving dirt in your mouth. I mean, that's the only way to get it, unfortunately. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting. This Pacific island's got some stuff in the soil that helps humans live longer, but good luck getting any implementation of that and any kind of supplement or anything like that.
Fascinating.
As far as I'm aware. Okay, and finally, the last big takeaway I had was the field of synthetic biology, and this is kind of the thing that blew me away, and it's basically the burgeoning is one of my favorite words, but
yes, it is.
But maybe that's not the correct way to use it. Maybe it's been around for a while, but it's a technology for creating synthetic organisms. Mm-hmm. And so I went down this whole rabbit hole. I was reading about George Church, who again is that Harvard scientist who created a means to. He wrote a book, and he created a means to compile his some software to compile. And I couldn't find the software. I looked for it. I didn't look too hard, but I couldn't find anything. He wrote some software to compile his book, convert it into binary, which is not that hard, but then to convert that binary into genomic sequences.
Whoa! So the book it turned into a genome?
He converted it to DNA. I don't know that you would call it a genome, but he converted
it. That's wild.
And so basically the ones and zeros got converted to, so A's and C's got converted to like one of the zeros or one, and then the G's and the T's got converted to a 0 or 1.
That's wild.
And supposedly this resulted in a huge space saving. So it ended up being some kind of new compression technology using DNA. And so that was one of the companies he's created is using biological means, using biotechnology to create a greater a greater compression technology in the field of computer science. So it makes me more aware of how beneficial the two fields of research are. There's in many other ways, biology and technology, especially in the field of AI, I think are hugely complementary. I'm very interested in that intersection between the two, and then also statistics and math. But anyway, this book just kind of blew my mind in terms of, oh crap, there's a whole bunch of stuff I need to go out and learn real quick.
Coursera.
not real quick, but try to assimilate and understand better.
Yeah.
And I really think it's exciting time to kind of look into that intersection of genomics and biology and computing technology right now. And there's a lot of potential that those fields could unlock. I'm a little bit honestly dismayed that there's not more implementations, usable implementations that the average Joe can actually use and get a hold of right now.
Yeah.
Problems that have been solved from the intersection of these technologies.
Yeah.
Like rapamycin. Supposedly it creates side effects. Like supposedly it increases your possibility that you might get diabetes and stuff like that. So maybe I can understand it's got to go through all these, government FDA approved clinical trials and stuff.
Well, plus if it's only on Easter Island, if we rape that resource, then it's gone.
Right. True.
Like fossil fuels.
But could using synthetic biology, could you synthesize it?
Yeah. And take out the issues where it could potentially cause diabetes and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And maybe they're working on that. Who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, it just feels like there's a lot of great promise in these technologies, but there's not a lot of implementation that the average person can leverage yet.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little curious why that is. Where is this stuff going? Like, for example, we've spent, the potential of $33 billion to sequence the genome. Where's the ROI for the average person in that? And was taxpayer money used in those initial iterations? And where's our ROI from that? I'm not seeing it. And I'm wondering, why is it cancer solved yet?
Yeah. That's
We could sequence all these genomes, but we can't solve cancer. Obviously I don't know everything, and I don't understand the problem, but it does seem like that's something that should be solved by now.
Yeah.
And why hasn't it?
Yeah.
Don't mean to be cynical, but I do wonder. Like, there just seems to be a disconnect from my perspective. So anyway, great book. Wanted to talk. There are two other books in Paul's Dr. Zare's Dr. Zare's series, and Cindy's got him here.
Yeah.
Coming Batman and
Inventing Iron Man.
Inventing Iron Man, and so I want to read those books as well. The Batman one is, I think, more about how you can train existing human biology to become more superhuman-like. And then, of course, the Inventing Iron Man one is more about how to use like computing technology and mechanical technology to create some kind of superhuman. But
the Beyond Batman one, or Beyond, I keep saying Beyond, Becoming Batman one is really cool because he has, here's average Bruce Wayne, like average us, as if we were going through like Jay's life. And here's like Batman Bruce Wayne, and the differences in how the diet and the exercise and the training and all of those different, and the mentorship and all these different things. So it's like, really, here's us as normal people, and here's how it would become that. So I loved it. I thought it was really well done.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I'm in the middle of Iron Man right now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
All right. So I definitely want to pick up reading on these, but right now I am in this wonderful Dan Jones. I don't know if you've seen him on I think it's Netflix, where he does something about Great British Castles or something like that. It's a great show. And this book, he's a very clear writer. The Plantagenets. It's about how the kings of England came about, and kind of the history of the lineage of all these guys from starting just after the Battle of Hastings in 1066, and William the Conqueror coming across the Channel from Normandy into Dover, and kind of taking over southern England at the time, and how Henry II and Eleanor Aquitaine and
Who's my ancestor?
And
I like her. I think she's a
cool.
badass.
And his writing, Dan's writing is so clear, and again, he uses a lot of big words and everything, but and no pictures either in this one. But I'm trying to read it every morning, and it's just like a delicious treat to read about this history, and I really enjoy this book. So I'll probably talk about that one next, but maybe not. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how the spirit moves us, but. Anyway, thanks for listening to episode 54. And my New Year's resolution for Dream 10X next year is to put out 2 issues every month. We'll see if we can do that.
All right.
We'll try to do that. We've slid back to a comfortable position of 1 a month, and I'm going to try to see maybe we can ramp up to two a month, and which means I'm going to have to read more books, and she's going to have to read more books. But anyway. Thanks for following us this year. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Thanks for being a part of the Dream 10X squad. We will talk to you again definitely in 2023. Get some.
Bye.